Monday. Hope y'all had a great weekend. I had a great weekend. It is March 16th, and let's get into it. Topic today, a doozy. So was AI designed, or is AI designed to seize power from college educated women? Now, you know I'm going to get on this topic. Me being a college educated woman myself, highly educated, I have a PhD. Even continue thinking and viewing myself as wanting to continue my education, but I'm tired. I'm always learning, regardless if it's not some formal degree. I believe that it's important to learn something new every day, which is why I'm like, what the hell is going on? To be honest, man, let me get into the article. Yes, I've seen a bunch of articles based on this topic from CEO of Planeteer. Forgot his name. We'll get into it in the article of how trillions of dollars have been spent building tech just to shift the dynamic in the economy and then the political power of women. And of course, with all the hate on women in society and everything that's going on, it does not shock me that I have to do this article. But as always, I got my face, because why are we doing this? Like, what is going on? Now, first and foremost, yes, I understand that AI is a tool, but it is important for us to understand how these tools are being used and how these tools are being used against us as humans, particularly based on this topic. Us as women, highly educated women, women that are here to shift the dynamic from the archaic thoughts and best practices of society in the past and moving us into a more modern and inclusive future. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into the article. Hold on, let me change the backdrop so that you guys can check out the article. There's other articles as well, but this one I think is the most brief one. This is unfortunately written by a man for those that are wanting a woman's perspective. I have one. I can read that one as well. It's just ridiculous, but we'll go ahead and get into this one because I'm going to get my thoughts as I go through the article. But this is in Futurism, as I said, and it's written by Frank Landy Moore. And specifically, let me get into it. All right. So the CEO of Planeteer says AI will seize power away from college educated women. This technology disrupts humanity's trained largely Democrat voters. All right. From the guy who bragged that he chats with real Nazis and mused about how legalized war crimes would be good for his bottom line, comes another zinger that will have you yearn for the days when CEOs acted more like cautious bureaucrats than roided out pro wrestlers. In a CNBC interview Thursday, Planeteer co-founder and CEO Alex Karp opined that AI will undermine the influence of highly educated, often female voters, and empower working class men instead. I don't know where he gets this idea, but let me keep going. I'll give my thoughts at the end of this article. And for anyone who doesn't realize this political reality, he added, belongs in an insane asylum. This technology disrupts humanity's trained, largely democratic voters and makes their economic power less and increases the economic power of vocationally trained, working class, often male voters. Karp elaborated in a portion of the interview highlighted by the New Republic. And so these disruptions are going to disrupt every aspect of our society. And to make this work, we have to come to an argument of what it is we're going to do with the technology. How are we going to explain to people who are likely going to have less good and less interesting jobs? Planeteer provides AI-powered surveillance tech to the military and government, including agencies like Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as well as foreign militaries like Israeli Defense Force. Its CEO's comments will be music to the ears of that of the Trump administration and supporters, which has embraced AI in all aspects, as a battlefield tool, as a way of eliminating federal bureaucracy, and as a machine for producing propaganda in a cultural war against woke, DEI, minorities, and of course, women. Chauvinist viewpoints are echoed by other leaders at Planeteer. In a social media rant in December, Joe Lonsdale, the company's billionaire co founder, advocated for public executions and said it was time to bring back masculine leadership. We have feminine energy running our cities, and our courts have complained. Other exhibited a loathing of the educated, left-leaning demographic that CARP vows AI will destroy. In an essay for the Spectator, Planeteer's UK CEO Louise Mosley warned AI will come for burdensome bureaucrats and other members of professional class, which he called the lanyards class, and would empower blue-collar workers. We don't need bureaucracy to control AI. We need AI to cut bureaucracy, Mosley, the grandson of Oswald Mosley, the founder of the British Union of Fascists, who was cozy with Adolf Hitler, declared. So, what do I think about this? I think this is a call to action more than what currently AI is, definitely, because as we all know, there are lots of females, women, however they want to be identified, whoever, those that understand the importance automatically has these forms of biases. We already know this. There's another article I found on this. I'm going to read that one as well. It is a little more in depth and probably giving a different viewpoint. Let me look it up while I talk to you guys. But there are women all in tech. So when I hear that, that lets me know that this is more a call to action of what is desired, what is wished upon versus what actually is. I would like to say, and it's definitely an understanding of how AI can be used to be a disruption, to help to, sorry, I'm stuttering because I'm trying to find the article. Can be used as a disruption. That's the first and foremost that I've hear out of that, and that's because I have the understanding and the understanding that AI is a tool. That is first and foremost, and I think that's one thing that we all forget when we think about AI. It is a tool, and yes, that shows the dangers of having AI as a tool in the hands of people that think like this. Yes, so yes, it is a warning first and foremost. And also a sales pitch. And also sort of like an aha moment, right? Cuz we're forgetting there's so many dynamics when we get to looking at this. Mind you, Planeteer is also aligned with Anthropic, which is Claude. So that's first and foremost. That's that sector over there, and they've just done that big government contract, and they will be aligned with them. So that's first and foremost. And since that has come out in the media, now we're looking to other systems, and we see how other systems are being viewed by government. Remember, government is now has its sights on in a negative way when it comes to ChatGPT. But regardless of all of that, we're not going to get all into all of that. What do I think of this? I think, like I said, this is a call to arms. This is also an understanding of how AI is being used to distract. And we see that all the time within politics and just social media, right? People trying to discern between what's real and what's not real. And that helps to skew judgment and determine, what should be and shouldn't be. So I'm going to read this next article, which is another viewpoint, more of a feminine viewpoint. And then I'll give my thoughts on that as well. I haven't read this one yet either, but let me go ahead and get started. This one's in The Guardian. This is The Guardian's version of it. Where's her name? I don't see the name. Oh, Arwa Mahdawi. ARWAMAHDAWI. And it is entitled, "This CEO Warns That Democrat Voters Are Most at Risk for Automation." So when I hear that, first and foremost, because when I see the yes, their idea is that they're targeting Democrats, a political party. That's first and foremost. And I think that that's where it gets skewed, that there are only educated women on the Democratic side, when there are educated women also on the Republican side and those that don't even vote. So I think that's first and foremost showing the ignorance of the CEO of Planeteer and how those are the only places where educated women reside. And that shows the ignorance first and foremost, as if women aren't helping to build these AI systems. Doesn't matter where you lean. There's educated women on both sides. That's first and foremost. That's where I feel that shows the ignorance first and foremost, and the sexism within it, and those, regardless what space you're in, you cannot claim that that's not what that is. It's assuming that, educated women are making society too feminine or too women, too feminine. That in itself is ignorant. Are Democrats better than Republicans in your opinion? No, I don't believe either side is better than the other. I really don't. I really don't. But when we look at what we're in now, it's kind of like neither one is doing much good. I mean, I do feel that there's a lot of wrong being done on both sides. And that's due to a lack of accountability and upholding of, things. We're not going to get all into that. We're going to stay focused, and we're going to stay focused on where we are. And this even kind of aligns with this, right? But that's what I said. That's what I like, what I just said. That assumption that there's only educated women on one side. And that's weird that would even be said, that, that, oh, Democratic voters. Hold on, wait, let me change the background. I think I have it highlighted, so I won't have to keep stumbling over my words. Okay, here, can we see that? I hope y'all can see that. A will influence the highly educated, often female voters, and empower working class men instead. And that's based on the assumption that he's assuming that it's going to take jobs or redistribute the opportunities from AI. And I don't really believe that, because with AI means that there needs to be oversight. You can't just have it out here creating and just going and running amok. That's first and foremost. And that's something that regardless of what you believe, if you watch movies, you see it. It's in the movies. If you're not evaluating systems, things happen. Bad things happen. But let me go ahead and read the article from a different point of view, and then I'll give my assessment from that as well. For those just joining us, I'm reading the Guardian's version of this, entitled, "This CEO Warns That Democrat Voters Are Most at Risk for Automation." Those just joining, I already said, there's educated women on both sides. Can't really say that. Okay. Planeteer CEO says the platforms will have a vast effect on the electoral landscape, especially women. It is a warning, or is it a warning or a sales pitch? As I said, I think this is them saying how AI will be used to be a distraction, and that's how it will create a change within the landscape. And that's what I get out of it. But with this article, when you'll let me know in the comments what you think as well. Don't you just love AI? It has inundated the internet with slop, destabilized the concept of truth, and made it much easier to bomb people. And that's just the beginning. As we look towards the future of our brave new world, AI must also disrupt all those pesky, highly educated female voters who keep casting a ballot for Democrats. To be clear, that assessment isn't coming from me, a highly exhausted female who wishes the Democrats would work a little harder for people's votes. Rather, it's coming from one of the key architects of our glorious AI-driven economy, Alex Karp, the co-founder and the CEO of tech firm Planeteer. On Thursday, Karp sat down with CNBC to chat about Planeteer's AI-driven Maven smart system, which the U.S. military is using to visualize potential targets and nominate them to be bombed, as well as talking about how America's lethal capabilities make it very special. Karp stressed that the extent to which AI is going to shift the political landscape. The one thing I think that even now is underestimated by all actors in industry is how disruptive these technologies are, Karp said. If you are going to disrupt, keyword disrupt, as I said earlier, if you're going to disrupt the economic and therefore political power significantly of one's party's base, highly educated, often female voters who vote mostly Democrat, the military and working class people who do not feel supported, and you believe that's going to work out politically, you're insane. Keyword is distract. That's what I got. Disrupt. Disrupt, distract, same thing. So the goal overall, or the hope or desire, is to retrieve power from highly educated female voters, assuming that they only vote one way. That's not necessarily true, even though the data does say that there are educated women on both sides. There are educated women on both sides, and they vote how they vote. But that doesn't mean that you can shift that vote through AI. Let me shut up. Keep reading. Okay, he added, like, this technology disrupts humanity's trained, largely democratic voters and make their economic power less, and increases the economic power of vocationally trained working class, often male working class voters. These disruptions are going to disrupt every aspect of our society. See, he's not really giving any real information. He's just saying disrupt. We're going to disrupt this landscape. Not saying how, right? But saying that we're going to disrupt. So obviously, when we look at disrupt when it comes to AI, it's usually through untruths or just ideas of what is. And then we can also look at, okay, the assumption is there are AI safe jobs, which is also a form of disruption. When I hear that, AI safe jobs, right? I did a whole thing on that. Look back sometime last week. I forget, Tuesday, Wednesday of last week that I did it. AI safe jobs, which are usually in the medical field, also trade jobs. Trade jobs are a big thing right now, with the assumption that AI cannot take those jobs, but also that is not necessarily true, because when we look at the trucking industry, they already have self-driving trucks. They already have AI, and they're looking to implement when it comes to plumbing industry, construction industry, where homes are already being built immediately within one day with the use of AI. So when I hear that, and they're talking about vocationally trained working class jobs, that is not necessarily true as well. So when I hear the word disrupt, I hear forms of misinformation. Honestly, that's what I hear, because really no job is AI proof. That's what I hear from that. But let me shut up. I digress. I will keep going. Got that, everyone? Disruption, disruption, disruption. See, I just said that. And in case you didn't catch it, disruption. Once you get beyond all the disruptions, it seems that what CARP is saying is that AI is eventually going to hurt the economic position of Democrats in general and highly educated female voters in particularly, and that will knock on effects politically. Meanwhile, working class male voters will emerge as winners of our reshaped economy. And as I just said, with how the economy is working, how we're seeing the landscape going when it comes to AI and just in general, that statement that he is making, I do not agree with. I feel that this is a call to arms more than something that is already enacted. Honestly, as I mentioned, with how work is, the redesigning of work. And when we look at the workplace now, AI is everywhere, and there's no way that AI is not going to even touch just average blue collar type jobs, that he's assuming, or vocational type jobs that he's assuming will not be touched. They're going to be touched. Everything is going to be touched in some way. But what it will result in is an opening for new opportunities because of oversight. Because when we implement new technologies, there's going to be a need for oversight and the understanding of how to use those technologies. And that requires education. So that in itself doesn't necessarily mean that we're eradicating educated women from... because I'm in the HR space and I'm understanding how work is going. That's why I am just not feeling it. These are hopes, wishes, and dreams. Obviously, hence the word disruption. So finding ways to disrupt in society, that is what I get from this. I don't view it as something that is currently something that is happening, but it is something that we as women and those within society need to highlight, as this is the overall our overall goal and desire. That is the desire of it. Now, will that come to fruition? Not if we educate ourselves and the understanding of where this is aligned. And this has nothing really even to do with politics. Their desire is the understanding of what they think about politics, with the assumption that it's only educated women. But women are what drive society. Women are what drive, the thought process within the workspace as well. The create a lot of ideas. It's not just men. So that idea is just strange to me, but I digress. Look who's talking. Anyways, let me get through it. Let me get through the nonsense. Let me see. The extent to which this is accurate is debatable. Blue collar jobs may be less vulnerable to AI in the short term, but technology is coming for those occupations too. I agree. I just mentioned that. However, I think the really interesting question here is this: was CARP's assessment a warning or was it a sales pitch? For me, it's definitely a warning. It's definitely a highlight and a nod to those who think like him to start creating based on the ideas that he and others like him align with. The idea of how to recreate and restructure the economy, right? And the political landscape so that educated women can no longer be in forms of power. That's what I get out of that. I view it more as a warning, of course, a sales pitch, a nod to creators who think like him to start building and finding ways to bring this ideology to fruition. Many people have interpreted it as a ladder. The New Republic, for example, interpreted this as a direct, long pitch to the GOP from a CEO whose tech firm already has numerous government contracts and is deeply embedded in the Pentagon. CARP's message is clear. Malcolm Ferguson writes, "My technology will take political capital away from one of your greatest enemies, liberal women with degrees." I'm laughing because I'm just like, what are we talking about? Give one of your favorite demographics to patronize. Working class men, more political power to transfer to you. I just don't understand the idea, but I can't even get through the paragraph because I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Just because I'm a highly educated woman and I believe in equality for all does not mean that I don't even know what to say. Let me get through the article. This certainly seems to track with the political positions of CARP and his fellow Planeteer founder, Peter Thiel. CARP has declared that Planeteer is completely anti-woke, and we all know feminism and women's rights are very woke coded. Let me shut up and get through it. Meanwhile, Thiel has strongly suggested that giving women the vote was an error. What am I reading? Y'all, I'm trying to get through the article. I'm trying to get through it, baby. I'm trying. What are you talking about? I'm all about equality. Women have a right to be educated. Women have a right to vote. My name is Lisa Marie Lee. My great grandmother was Nora Lee, one of the first petitioners to end segregation in schools. So I'm all about education. So I'm like, shut up! What are you talking about? Okay, let me get through the article. Meanwhile, Thiel has strongly suggested that giving women the right to vote was an error. In 2009, he published an essay laminating how female suffrage had impacted libertarianism writing since 1920, the vast increase in welfare beneficiaries, and extension of the franchise to women, two constituencies that are notoriously tough for libertarians, have rendered the notion of capitalist democracy into an oxymoron. I don't know about that, but increasingly it seems like the idea of an AI democracy is an oxymoron. There's a reason that the Trump administration and Donald Trump himself love AI so much. It is an autocrat's dream. It makes disseminating propaganda much easier. Like I said, distraction, disrupt. It makes manufacturing consistent for wars easier and killing people in those wars faster. Exactly. And when we say manufacturing jobs, those are more leading to blue collar, vocational type jobs, right? And as I said, they rely heavily on technology, automation, and AI. So when we speak about how these jobs in the careerscape in the modern workforce is shifting, this is a prime example. So like I said, disrupt, as if as they're mentioning the working class man who's working in manufacturing, and it's admitting it right here that AI is replacing those jobs. They already have been. I mean, when we look at maritime shipping and all of that, supply chain, all of that, it shows the highlight for the need to disrupt with these types of talks and things like that as if it's going to help someone else benefit, when really it's divisiveness to keep those in power already in power. But I digress. That is what it's about. It's not about, shifting the power from educated women to working class men, but to uphold power for those already in power by disruption, distraction, and all of that. But let me keep reading. And when we bomb a school full of little girls in those wars, then whoops, the AI was responsible is a very useful excuse. And AI disrupts the economy and the political landscape. Yes, it does, as I mentioned. It gives oligarchs an unprecedented opportunity to reshape the world to their liking, a chance to echo CARP to reduce the economic power of the highly educated female voters they seem to loathe. Why are women so hated? Why is it as if men aren't voting? It's like we the only ones voting. I think that's the most ignorant part about this whole conversation, as if educated women are the only ones voting. Everyone's voting. Why are we singling out the women? Why do we hate women so much? That's first and foremost. And then the idea that we are creating this need for inclusivity as if it isn't needed. It's needed. And obviously it's needed because that's why the divisiveness is here. That's why the hate is here. But the AI is being used to cause that distraction, to have us fight amongst ourselves, us the lower level, while those in power remain power. That's what I'm getting out of this article. Okay. Where was I? A chance. Echo CARP to reduce the economic power of the highly educated female voters they seem to loathe. Trump's presidency is one long revenge tour, and AI is ushering the next chapter. Like I said, this has nothing to do with the lower level individual. This is all about I'm not reading because it's very, very long and we'll be asleep. But it's just something that needs to be understood, that women are once again the scapegoat. That's what I get out of this. And to create a form of distraction and disruption, as mentioned earlier, disrupt, disrupt, disrupt. The key words he used were disrupt. So I don't view this as something, of course, the creators always have things in the background. So, of course, yeah, I agree that this is a dog whistle to those that create AI. So for the highly educated women that are, helping to build new systems, this is your chance to get on your job, man. Get on your job, because this is the goal. The overarching goal is divisiveness and destruction and power for those that are already in power, mainly men. Mainly white men. And when I say white men, only certain white men. Those in elite spaces. That's what this is technically about. And mind you, AI isn't anything new. It's new to us, right? And there's always been different forms of AI and automation that have been used since, the beginning. Since we've really been having our PCs and, the Lisa computer, there was always some form of automation within a system. It's just now that the technology has really taken off to where it is now. Now, bias has always been in AI, there's so much evidence to prove that and highlight that. So that's one thing that is understood, that bias has always been in these systems. Since Gen AI has been a thing, we've seen a lot of people writing books about it, a lot of studies being conducted about it. Even when we look at corporations, they're implementing it. They have no idea what they're implementing. This is why this talk today is actually necessary, because all of these trillions of dollars are going into these systems, and no one really knows what they're doing with it. No one knows how to use it. No one knows even why they need it. They're just investing in it just to invest in it. Obviously, those that are creating it are creating it for their own ill-gotten gains, for some form of political power, some form of socio-economic power, right? Hence this article, seizing power away from college-educated women. That vote Democrat. like only those women vote that way. So I really feel that it's more than just that. When you say voting Democrat, and that means you're thinking of a liberal thing, a liberal mindset, but that's the assumption that it's even it would be even liberal for women to hold power within corporations, but that person, that individual may not vote Democrat. So that within itself shows the ignorance when it comes to women, and the assumption that women are only this type of educated woman. And I know there's more to why he said that, but he obviously was biting his tongue, holding his tongue. Was he meaning black women? I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to figure that out. What college educated women? Does he mean black women? Because I'm leaning towards he's meaning black women, but didn't want to say black women because don't forget it was like 92% of us that vote Democrat. So when I hear that, that's what it's making me think. But I digress. I'm not sure. All I know is it's all about disparity. It's all about upholding disparity. It's all about upholding a disparity mindset. The archaic systems that we have, keeping divisiveness by assuming that, AI is only going to touch the jobs of those that are educated and not those that have vocational styles of work, as if that's not educated type work as well. You need to be educated to have vocational work. So that in itself is minimizing the intelligence of white men. But I digress. Nobody else would notice that and would just assume that, this is just about women. But everything about this highlights the ignorance and the systemic barriers and the systemic mindset of upholding archaic, divisive thoughts. And it's just a lot to unpack within one conversation. I'll have to lean into this more and I'll do more segments on this because it's so much that goes into this. But I think it is important to recognize that this all leads to Anthropic, because Palantir is aligned with Anthropic, and Anthropic is Claude. I don't use Claude. So never liked it. Maybe this is why. I don't know. I digress. It's so much to unpack here, like I said. But from one college educated woman to you, it's a lot going on. We need to be wise about it. For those in the tech space, we need to look at ways of ensuring accountability and having oversight as well. And for those that are implementing these types of systems, that as well. This is also a highlight and a aha moment to us, making sure that when we use these systems, we are double checking. Because that means when I read this article, it's going after educated people. So that means the whole idea is to create misinformation. That's what I'm starting to believe. Is that the whole idea, to try to seize power by demeaning our education through use of technology? I don't know. I first saw this article on LinkedIn, so all of us girlies were all in an uproar. And I mean, like I said before, it's not a secret. I don't think that this is something, as I said before, AI is a tool, and we already know what the root cause of all of this ignorance is. It's bias, discrimination, and systems that we keep rewarding for their delusion, inequity, and hate. That's first and foremost. As I always speak about it, we're dragging archaic ideology from the past with us into the present and into the future. That's first and foremost. These people shouldn't even have power thinking the way they think. As I said, all of just even the hate that came out of his mouth. For those that just joined me, just check out the article. Let me put it back up behind me so you can see it. 1 second. It's just a lot going on. This article is in Futurism. Check that out. Let me scoot back. Check that out. And just the ignorance and the hate that has come out of reading this article. It highlights that this is not just about women. Women are the first focal point, the first target, as always. And that's what I get from that. When I read this, and then understanding that this corporation, that business, also is working with agencies like ICE, that highlights the discrimination that's going into how these systems are being used. Most definitely. You can't deny that. When you read the article and you realize the hate that's behind the CEO, and then this CEO's businesses are aligned with government, who is out here conducting operations behind a biased, discriminatory, and hateful approach that is built into the systems that we, the taxpayers, are paying for. So that lets us know where we are. So yeah, the article is focusing on women, but this is not just about women. This is not just about uplifting, white men that have vocational jobs. As if they're the only ones that have vocational jobs. That in itself is ignorant as well. There are women plumbers, there are women truck drivers. It's just getting weird. We have to stop. But it definitely highlights where we are moving in society. We always were in this space, but where it's coming out, it's covert. It's not overt anymore. It's in our face. It's in our face. Not covert, but it's overt. It's in our face. And it's highlighting where we need to, as leaders, recognize what are we going to do about it? How are we going to move through society knowing that this is going on? Like I said, this is focusing just on women, but this company is aligned with government entities. These AI systems are being utilized to police. So that's all I got to say about that. Something to think about. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? How do we go about it? To all my women and those that align in the tech spaces, the creators, the innovators, the disruptors. It's time, we have to definitely look at building systems to protect us. Systems that are, used for oversight and accountability, however that goes about, things that are, necessary to create balance. And this goes not only, within integration type systems, but also within how we can go about creating and thinking of new ways to create as well. So, the brainstorming type process. Of course, we got to oversee that too, because it's not hard to hack into systems and, implement these weird ideologies. But it's just something to think about. But us as leaders within our lives and within our workspaces, this is where we have to call out a thing. When we see these inequities and these same archaic systems tearing down our society and our systems, our education systems, everywhere. It starts first within the education system. And we already see that being dismantled, right? Opportunities not being provided and things like that. The balance of it, the understanding that women should even be educated. This is getting weird. Why do we even think that? So it's just a lot to unpack when it comes to it. I'm going to keep touching on this topic, looking and diving deeper into it. But obviously, this is a dog whistle to other creators to try to move this type of thought process forward. And it's a dog whistle to people like me and those that align and think like me, for us to determine ways to ensure oversight and to understand how AI is just a tool, nothing to fear, and for us to recognize and create new ways to ensure accountability. And with that being said, don't forget, be the change, love yourself and others. Bye.